Much of my life could probably be defined by adjustment because of how many times my family has moved and because of the changes in the culture of the towns I moved to. Because of the variety of cultures and the different values of people, every person will have different things that they consider important to know in order to fit in how they want to fit in with the new town. I focused on not sticking out, and for that I had to know how I would differ from the average person as a homeschooled new person in town. So I had to focus on the majority of the town's general attitude, their opinion on public schooling versus homeschooling, and on how they greet strangers compared to friends. The places that I moved to that had the largest change in these factors were Plattekill, New York, Blairsville, Georgia, and Oakley, Kansas. New York in general has a very large international influence, even in the rural town that I lived in. Thus, even Plattekill was a home for many diverse cultures. It was imperative to be able to tell the difference between these cultures because their culture was tied into their identity and they were very offended to be mistaken for each other. The social norm of New York was adamantly opposed to homeschooling and they looked down on homeschoolers. They believed that the children were the state's responsibility to teach and to take care of until they reached adulthood. Despite this belief, many of New York's social and community outreach programs were decades behind the rest of the country, although much of this was because of the amount of debt that the state had. Moving to Blairsville, Georgia was not a big shock because the friendly small-town atmosphere was still very prevalent. There were not a lot of suburbs because of the mountains, so families lived quite far from each other. For instance, Blairsville, the county seat of Union County, had a population of 566 people when I moved there, but the county had 18,352 people living in it. The people still had a small-town friendly atmosphere to them, even to strangers. It would be normal for the locals to have a long conversation with someone that they just met, which can be a little off-putting if you're not used to it, and it would be very easy to accidentally offend someone if you don't respond as friendly as they do. Despite the friendliness that everyone had, it was difficult to have anything close to a relationship with your neighbors because of this distance between houses. Because of this, what unity they had was based more on the county or the state and not the school or the town itself. The general attitude of all of the people was extremely laid back, almost to the point of apathy, and they weren't offended or surprised at all if you were homeschooled. Oakley, Kansas, from what I've seen, is probably best described by the word unity. The urban areas in town allows people to live close enough together that they can be actively involved in their school's program, helping to promote the activities and coming to the school games to support their team. Despite the school pride, most people are okay with being homeschooled, or at worst, wonder why you would choose to be homeschooled. The close proximity with neighbors means the need for a closer relationship with your neighbors, but that can easily turn into a new reason to dislike your neighbors. All of the people are polite, but they don't feel obligated to greet you if they don't know you, and they won't feel offended if you don't greet them.